All right, welcome back to the Sunday Social. I'm actually joined by Mike Fiella today, which is cool and appropriate because Mike is the one that actually kind of started this whole thing, or wouldn't even say kind of. Mike is the one that started this whole thing with the timeline takeover, and then I kind of piggybacked off of it and wanted to do more video and just talking about people's stuff, and it's really cool. But how are you doing this morning, Mike?
I'm doing great, man. I am busy as always, but just enjoying everything we got going on and really appreciate you bringing me on and doing this live. So I figured, hey, let's just kick this off together and get the party started.
Yeah, definitely. So I know Mike doesn't have a lot of time here, so we're going to kind of go ahead and get this started. Now, he did put out a kind of a tweet or a hashtag saying, if you want to jump on with us, you're more than welcome to. Just go ahead and send that hashtag. It was a hashtag TL goes live, and we'll get you on the show. I'll send you the StreamYard link, and that's probably the easiest way to do it. We had a couple people send it over and say, and use the hashtag, but I guess they didn't actually read exactly what they were getting themselves into. And then once I sent the link, they were like, wait, what's going on here? But I can't imagine that we don't have anyone, that's just getting started out, that, just wants to pimp out their own stuff. I mean, don't feel selfish or anything. That's the whole point of the show. I can't imagine we don't have anyone that wants to do it, right?
Oh yeah, well, that's the tough part, right? And we're talking about this. I was on with Sal and Troy earlier this week, and really the hardest thing to do is get yourself out there at first. And I get it, right? Articles, you have editors, you have time to read it over and things like this. Live can be scary, but I'll tell you, it's a great way to get your face out there. It's a great way to make connections. This is something we just started towards the end of this year, so hopefully it'll take off, either in the off season. Obviously there's not going to be a lot of content coming up, but next year, maybe as people get their feet wet, we'll start bringing some folks on. But definitely the best I can offer people for advice is don't be shy. Get out there, get your stuff out there, get your face out there, get your voice out there. Anything you can do to start building those connections. And John and I 100% are here to help. I mean, that's kind of what we do, right? We try to get people off the ground, get them going. So don't want anyone ever being shy. That's kind of how we're going to do things. So what do you think? You want to get this party started?
Yeah, let's do it. I guess maybe it is a little selfish of me or whatever, but if you don't mind, I want to get it started with my own website, and it's not to pimp out my own stuff or anything like that. It's really that I love my writers. I love the people that are supporting me by putting out their content on my website. And so, you see here we have articles from Dave Fantasy. Dave, great guy. Ryan Polish at Dynasty Block. He did the early 2021 offseason buy lows and sells, sell highs. And so I just wanted to talk about that real quick. Check out their work. Once again, not about me, it's about them. Make sure you're following those guys, and obviously check out the website with, anytime you're looking for anything. This isn't the time to get complacent or, start giving up on stuff because you lose matchups and everything. It's Dynasty that we're talking about, at least most of the time. So, don't give up, stay active and do all that. But that was just a real quick thing I wanted to start with, and that was contenderconnection.com.
Yeah, no, love it. No, obviously a big fan of your writers. I know a bunch of them, connect with them, see them at happy hour. Absolutely no doubt we should be pumping all those guys. So what I wanted to kick it off with, my first retweet, is one of the biggest things for me is always pumping anything that involves charity. We've been doing a lot of things for No Kids Hungry with Dingus and Chase getting their chest waxed. I think we raised like $1,600. So today what I wanted to kick it off with was my man, Munder Difflin 79. He has a wager. We have a group, the Cole Kmet fan club, and we are constantly pumping Cole Kmet jokes. You've seen him all over the timeline. He's going to donate $100 to a local charity that provides shelter, food, and clothing to family in need over the holidays. If Cole Kmet scores a touchdown, we're going to get that donation made, and also he put a link in there for the charity. So if you guys are looking for a place to donate, looking for a way to help folks, we have Scott putting that out there. So that's going to be our first retweet of the day, and then we're going to just start, I think, kind of rapid firing here, see what we can do. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up all of your comments here. Like I said, we've been talking, man, 40, 50 a week. This has just been kind of wild. When this started, and I think I mentioned this last week, there was 4. It was legitimately the
Yeah.
easiest pay it forward in history. But here we go to get through this. I'm going to start out with the homie Rob Norton. And he puts out the DFS post on a regular basis. One of the big things that people always ask me is, where do I get my info from? Rob Norton's one of my go-tos for DFS. He also hosts the Baby Bowl. So again, keeping that kind of charity theme going, that's what he's been doing. So Rob is a regular on Timeline Takeover and one of my favorites. So John, I know you highlighted his stuff last week too. Yep. He does the DraftKings plays and the stream team. So anybody looking for those last minute plays, you got that here.
Yeah, and that's lastwordonsports.com, where you'll want to find those. And yeah, like you said, we've been pimping out Rob's stuff, but I kind of do like little quick synopsis of them. I don't go like crazy into detail or anything, but I mean, obviously, first of all, just near and dear to my heart, anyone that has Derrick Henry as like the main picture on something is always going to get pimped out by me. So
love it.
But yeah, just basically, he's going into his week 14 recap. Obviously, it's always good to go over your process, make sure that you're not just throwing things out there blindly and everything. So you want somebody that's doing that. Yeah, it's more important to look towards week 15, but it's also important to learn from week 14, that kind of thing. And then, he's diving right into the plays. You got your quarterbacks, obviously you're starting Mahomes. I like Goff there. Obviously, I guess it's always scary that they could just run up a lead or anything. But the thing is, how do you run up a lead? By scoring a bunch of points early, So get you some Goff. Hurts is coming on with the rushing ability. So I love that call. And then, with Breeze back, that's going to be so huge for Kamara. If Breeze had been here this entire time, Kamara probably would have been 9,600 or something like that. So, you're paying 7,400 for him. Here's Henry at 9,500. Kamara would probably be right around that price, something like that. So, but yeah, we don't have to go through all of them, but I love highlighting some of the stuff and definitely go check out Rob's work at lastwordonsports.com.
Absolutely. One of the big things is Goff has been my smash play of the week for a while now. The narrative of the Jets and game script, they've lost every game. And they're still giving up 320 yards passing and 3 touchdowns a game. So there's no doubt in my mind that Jared Goff is an absolute steal. And I normally don't give away too much of my Millie Makers because I got to eat. But I can assure you Jared Goff is my quarterback in the Millie this week. And there wasn't even a doubt in my mind on who I was playing. It was without question. Jared Goff was the first name I hit.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. This is one of the first weeks that I didn't do any DFS whatsoever. I've just been so busy with work and everything else. And I usually at least make a couple lineups, even if I don't go too crazy with anything. And I looked at it this morning and I thought about doing it. And I was just like, I don't have time, especially once the notification started with all of this. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to focus on that instead of DFS.
I like it. Well, yeah, this is they said this will keep us busy for the day. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I still haven't even gone through and actually retweeted all this stuff out yet. I'm going to highlight it here, but then I want to go back and actually show the people the love and retweet it. And obviously, I don't have the reach that you do, but I'll still do my part.
No, man, that's the thing. I didn't have anything for reach when we started, and as long as we just get people out there, the more retweets we get, the more crossover we get, the more exposure people get. That's what we're doing this for. So
exactly. And here's Liam. He was one of the ones that used the hashtag that we were talking about, and then I reached out to him, sent him the link, and he was like, "Oh man, I think he's over in the UK." And so he said, "I'm actually busy this afternoon." And I was confused at first, and I was like, "Wait, he's over in the UK? Okay, it actually is probably the afternoon, like late afternoon there." So that makes sense.
It is.
But yeah, we can definitely check out his stuff, and he's at kingfantasysports.com. And actually, once I clicked on the link, I clicked on it earlier just to see, and I realized like they have quite the thread going here with all the stuff coming out from King Fantasy. So they have quite a bit going on.
Oh yeah. I think I got them all. I hope I did. So tried my best, homie. But I tried to go through and get every last one of them out there because obviously they have a ton of great content there. So easy guys to support, especially kind of coming from across the pond. And then we got other stuff coming in from that area. But I love seeing the international folks getting so much content out there.
Exactly. And it's not fair because they're already pushing workout before I even wake up on Sundays, but I mean, they have the start sits, they have waiver wire pickups, they have DraftKings plays. I mean, they're basically covering every aspect for you over there, and so definitely check that out. And even going back and looking at the Week 14 stuff, so that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. So I think
Speaking
we just pumped out like 40 of them, by the way. So just kind of be ready. Things got a little crazy while you were talking.
Oh no! Hey, I mean that's not a bad thing. We're that's what we're here for, right? But speaking of across the pond, we have Matt FF Dynasty, and he actually pushed this out this morning, and it was one that I did retweet because I noticed it like right when I woke up. It was the first thing on my timeline, and I am probably the biggest Denzel Mims supporter, fan, whatever you want to call it, truther, all that kind of good stuff. And so this was the first thing that popped up on my timeline this morning, and I was extremely excited about it. But basically, just a thread about Mims.
Yeah, so it's funny. While we highlight Matt, number one, I mean he is smart as they come. This dude puts out these threads on a weekly basis, and they are always filled with fire information. The other thing about Matt is he might be arguably the nicest person on the internet. He is someone who is so easy to support. He's a guy that you just want to be friends with. Like, he is one of the best people, smart people, like has so much going. And all the guys over at Astronauts are I'm big fans of, but Matt in particular is absolutely one of my homies. Been there since day one, and his threads are literally like must read for me. Like, I wake up every Sunday and have to get in some of his stuff because it's always full of gold and info that I didn't have beforehand. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I read through, obviously, like I said, I love Mims, so I'm going to read anything and everything about him. But I read through it, and he had some great information about it. The only thing I will say is there was a couple of things, and maybe it's just obviously a different process or whatever, but there was a couple of things where going through the thread, see if I can find it real quick. He was talking about his target share. Oh, here it is. His percent of team air yards and his percent of team targets. And if you're talking about an overall, because 9.9% isn't really overly high or anything. So I'm wondering if he was talking about overall compared to, like when he's been, because obviously he missed like half the year and everything. And so I feel like if you go by like per game stats, then those numbers would actually be even higher, which would be even more, but obviously I don't know exactly what Matt was looking for there. Maybe he wanted to show, a season, or a whole season approach and like that kind of thing. So I'm not trying to like put him down or anything, but yeah, I was like, man, Mims' numbers could even look better,
Yeah. Oh, and that's the thing. He's up and coming, and he's like smash dynasty buy this year, right? Yeah. So that's what people are sleeping on him and forgetting that he had probably the worst setup injury-wise, quarterback-wise, team-wise. This is a guy who, if you expected year one, coach-wise, exactly. I don't understand why people wouldn't be just smashing by on him. People are going to be selling him for late seconds. That's an absolute steal. Get him on your team.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what we got next. We got JL, and I don't know how much you know of him. I don't really know.
Oh, Jay Lefko. Yeah, he is. He's one of my homies from the Magic 8-Ball division of the Scott Fishbowl. We have been in the league together for a while. Great dude. He's been coming up. He and I have been coming up about the same time, always supporting his stuff. I absolutely love this guy, smart guy. And in case you were wondering whose advice to take, he absolutely whipped me in the fishbowl. So you got that going for you.
Nice. Actually, I love bold predictions. That's kind of like what I'm all about. When I do the take it or leave it pods and stuff. I mean, you can, as long as they're realistic, I love having a bold prediction going against the grain and, not just saying the same crap that everyone else is saying. So I kind of wanted to see what his bold predictions were. Melvin Gordon in week 15 scores 20 plus points. I guess we already know the answer to that one, but
yeah, I mean, he got it, didn't he? He was right there. He must
I would have to look at it. I don't have any Melvin, so I don't really I wasn't truly following his points, but I know he had to have been like somewhat close, I think.
Oh yeah. He got 24, it looks like. I got 18 on the ground And then in a full PPR, I got 20 there, and then 4 catches. I got 24 PPR points, so nailed that one already.
Yeah, that one's awesome. Chase Claypool goes off for 100 yards receiving, and we know with the way that they use him and everything, it hasn't been amazing lately. But we know that he could probably have that in 2 catches, if they really wanted to. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are both wide receiver ones. That doesn't even seem that bold. That just seems smart, probably. Like at this point, we're already talking about the Jets and everything, and Ryan Tannehill's top 5 QB this week. Now that, going up against the Lions, I could definitely see that. Baker Mayfield continues his hot streak, finishes as a QB1. I love that call because that one's not even necessarily going up against an easy defense or something. He's saying that he's just going to continue being good, which is what I would want to hear as a Mayfield truther.
And he barely pulled out, Lefko pulled out that Singletary call.
Yeah,
he got it though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think on the last play of the game, if I'm not mistaken, he had nothing, and he busted out a 51-yarder in garbage time to make that one come true. So he's already 2 for 2.
McLaurin's a wide receiver 1. Hey, you know what? We've already seen. There's only been 3 games so far this week, and he's already hit on a few of these. So it seems like he's, maybe you're right. Maybe he is the guy to listen to.
He's definitely better than me at this.
But yeah, check his stuff out, and that's at fantasy data, however you want to say it, .com.
Perfect. All right, man. Well, listen, I'm going to let you do your thing. I got to get to work. So keep rolling. I think I have the first round all out. So you have a full timeline to play with, all great info. And I'm sure there'll be more coming as we go. But I got to get on the radio. So thanks for having me. Thanks for doing this. And I'll catch up with you next week, bro.
Hey, thanks, man. Hope to see you at happy hour.
All right, man. Definitely will. Talk to you later. See you.
All right, so moving right along, it was really cool of Mike to jump on with me. Obviously, like I said, he was the one that kind of started the whole thing, and so definitely awesome. And to hear some of his analysis, and obviously he knows a lot more of these people than I do because he's interacted with them. And so, I apologize. I would like to get to know all of you guys, but I'm trying my best. That's why we're doing this, right? And that's why that's why I'm inviting people onto the show. That's why I'm inviting you guys to come talk to me, so I can get to know you. And, don't be nervous. There's nothing to be nervous about. If it's just you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. But don't be nervous about, talking about your stuff or being on the camera or anything like that. I mean, you don't even have to put your video on if you're worried about that. You can just sit there and talk and we'll be fine. But moving along, we got the Dynasty Time Machine, and he has a new podcast coming on the FF Dynasty Trades pod feed. I'm sorry. It's John Bosch and Bob Gilchrist have a new podcast. So I know Bob is one of Mike's close friends, or, at least good friends in the community and everything. And obviously everyone just about knows who John Bosch is at this point. So that is pretty cool. And they're talking about doing their pilot episode. If it was anything like my pilot episode for the Monocle, then you probably don't want to listen to it, but they're probably better than I am. And so it'll probably be fine. But yeah, that's definitely cool. Check that out. And I believe I already follow them on my podcast feed. So hopefully that'll just automatically jump right in and I'll get that without any issues. Sorry, I'm going to go back to Mike's timeline now and see what all he's pimping out. Because like you said, he just pushed them all out. All right, so this is a good one. It's a video on YouTube. Taylor's pushed out, is T.Y. Hilton trustable this week in fantasy semifinals? If you listen to the fantasy footballers, they've nicknamed him T.Y. Houston at this point. And, I mean, that's who he's playing. And there's a reason why they did that. The guy just dominates against Houston. And but obviously Taylor has his own opinions. I can't really listen to it right now because we're doing our own show, but definitely check that out. Check out Taylor and his work on TY. And then Nate, who came on Happy Hour on Friday, second time now, so friend of the Happy Hour, we can say. But Nate jumped on, but he's pimping out his wife's stuff, and she has let's see. It's at inbetweenmedia.com, and it's the Friday Night Insights, if I can speak. And talking about fix and flip. I want to see, just glance through it real quick. Okay, so yeah, talking about auction values and things like that. Definitely, that's a nice looking article, I can tell you that much. But yeah, she gets into some players here with Cole Kmet, Lynn Bowden, and even a game day drink recipe. So that I definitely like that. Let's see, a bottle of tequila. That's always a good start. And 2 liters of Sprite, pineapple juice, cranberry juice. I don't know, it sounds a little sweet for me, but I'll just take the bottle of tequila. But yeah, check out Jen's stuff. And that is, like I said, inbetweenmedia.com. And Jen is at Jen Polvogt on Twitter. We've already talked about that one. And here we go. Fantasy Ladder. We've pimped out his stuff in the past, but he has his rookie stud of the week, Jonathan Taylor from week 14. Actually, I think we talked about this one last week, but if you haven't checked it out yet, obviously go. He's looking over all the rookies, and you definitely want to see that. And Tyler Karp is doing his start sit questions. Obviously, if you guys have any start sit questions, and I'm not trying to take away from Tyler here, but if you have any, I'm more than happy to answer those for you. But Tyler's doing that on his timeline at DFF_Karp. And he wants to answer every question in semifinal week to help you all go to your title games, which is obviously, while we're all still here, we're still fighting. We're still, I have some really bad matchups this week, not going to lie. But I am in the semis in quite a bit of leagues. And yet I think I'm projected to lose all of them, even though my teams are pretty good, but I'm just going up against some really good teams as well. And of course, some of the guys started Waller. Of course, that's how it all works out. But I did have DJ Moore last night, which was nice. Even though he didn't score any touchdowns, he still scored a good amount of points. I love that man. He is a stud. Go get you some DJ Moore if you can. I don't feel like he gets the respect that he actually deserves for what he's done and what he's doing in that situation. But yeah, check out Tyler's work. And let me get back to this. G-Man J is asking the same kind of thing. Any week 15 questions? They're doing the Sleeper Wire show, and let's check it out. So they're on there now. Actually, that's where Mike is, as you can see. So he said he had to get to work. He's a busy man, and that's why I was just happy that he was able to jump on. Actually, that's from 10:30, so I don't know if that's live or what. It says it's live, but regardless, check out G-Man and Mike and the other two as well. I'm sure they're going over all the week 15 stuff for you. And then Marco has kind of started his own. I wouldn't even say kind of. He is doing his own timeline takeover and things of that nature. I think he might even be doing it twice a week. And he's at Marco_14P. But he's asking the same thing. Obviously, starts and sits are going to be the big key here because there's not too many people playing anymore. But the ones that are have a lot of questions, and especially if you're in a league with trade deadlines, which don't have trade deadlines. But if you are and you don't have any control over it, then you might have some questions because it's not easy to go get guys off the waivers and everything, and just what you do. I'm always thinking of it as a dynasty terms or dynasty aspect. So you guys might be sitting here and thinking like, oh, it's pretty easy to get people off the waivers, but in dynasty, it's definitely not. And if you can't trade, then it definitely makes it a lot more difficult. Pro Football Mania has a week 15 preview, bold predictions, 5 sleepers, 5 players to fade. Sammy Watkins is a dark horse flex player. The Chiefs duel with the Saints in the Big Easy. Yeah, I don't mind that one because, we know that Watkins, when healthy, can show up and can have a big day. I kind of want to click on this, and this is once again at profootballmania.com. but I kind of want to see who the 5 bold predictions are. Oh, here we go. Maybe it's not wanting to go. Oh, here we go. Tua puts up single-digit fantasy points. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, it's a divisional game. Those are always tough to begin with. Rookie quarterback going up against the Patriots and Bill Belichick. We saw what they did with Justin Herbert, and Herbert's been a lot more prolific than Tua's been. So I don't even know if I would call that like overly bold. That seems kind of smart. Deshaun Watson finishes as the QB1 and leads the Texans in an upset over the Colts. Now that would definitely, I mean, not the part with Deshaun Watson being the QB1. I mean, that is bold, but I don't think it's that bold. He's obviously done it already this year. But leading the Texans over an upset over the Colts, that definitely seems like, especially with the way that T.Y. has been lately, and Jonathan Taylor for that matter, that seems a little more bold. But hey, that's why it's called bold takes, right? And then Cam Akers has a big week and fuels the hype train, propelling him up 2021 draft boards. And I mean, the way he's been playing, I could definitely see it. The only thing is I don't think the Jets run defense gets enough credit, and maybe it's just because it's so easy to throw on them, but they're actually, like, I believe top 10 in run defense. And so everyone just assumes, hey, it's the Jets, but yeah, it is the Jets. But their run defense has actually been decent. So I don't know if I would go overly crazy with that one. But that doesn't mean that Akers can't still get 20 touches and have a good game. And obviously he could score you 2 touchdowns or something, and that would definitely propel him up the 21 draft boards. J.K. Dobbins finally breaks out. Oh, man, please. I'm starting Dobbins in multiple semifinal playoff leagues or matchups, and I could definitely use 125 total yards and a touchdown. If he wanted to have 2, that would be even better. But he is definitely getting the touches. He's starting to see a little bit more of the share. He doesn't have the full workload or anything like that. He's definitely not to workhorse status yet, but I would love to see that. And I definitely can see it with A, his talent, and B, the usage that he's been getting lately. And then Chris Godwin turns back the clock a year and puts up a monster game versus the Falcons. A, it's the Falcons, so I definitely could see it. B, I love Godwin's talent. I really feel like people are really excited about Brady coming in and keeping Godwin up at this like high level. And the thing is, I really feel like Brady has actually hurt Godwin more than help anything, just because A, he's spreading it around. B, he's just not the same player, whether people want to admit that or not. But we know Godwin's talented. It definitely would not blow my mind or anything if he put up a monster game against the Falcons. And like, the Bucs have to win. Now the Falcons are obviously going to do, being a divisional game, they're going to do whatever they can or the best that they can to stop that. But the Bucs have to win, and they're going to want to win big. They don't want this to be close. They need to get some momentum going on to get into the playoffs and so on and so forth. But yeah, so that's the 5 bold predictions from ProFootballMania.com. So go check that out. And then we got Mugs Fly Together. Who to start PPR, higher ceiling, Jeff Wilson or Lynn Bowden? So that's tough because Wilson isn't really going to be like the PPR back. He's not going to be the receiving back, but he is going to get touches. He obviously gets the goal line touches. He could very well score 2 touchdowns, especially against the Dallas defense. But talking about PPR, Bowden got 9 targets last week and is essentially their slot receiver. So I could easily see Bowden get you around 10 points just in receptions, 8 points, whatever, something like that. And then obviously add on the yardage and if he scores or anything like that. But I think with who Wilson is going up against and the fact that he gets the goal line touches, I think I'm going to go ahead and pick Wilson. There it is, 60.2% compared to 39.8%. So it seems like a lot of you guys agree with me. And yeah, I could definitely see that. But go check that out. Help Mugs Fly Together. Figure that one out. Scott Simpson has the DFS money shot. I think. Oh, never mind. I was going to say I think that just started. That was last night. Never mind. But yeah, definitely check them out. Scott's hilarious, and I know they're always keeping it kind of crazy and fun and all that kind of stuff. But check them out at Nimble with Numbers on Twitter. Justin Wright has and he's asking for start sit questions from people. He's at Justin_14P once again. Send those over. And then, all right, we already went over a lot of the King Fantasy Sports stuff. But yeah, Mike was pimping out all their stuff. But yeah, obviously we know they've covered just about everything at this point. Check them out at kingfantasysports.com. Like I said, they're covering a lot. We've already talked about Matt and his Denzel Mims piece, but check that out. And I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. We talked about Rob. Okay, so here's I didn't actually have it up earlier as far as the post from Scott at Munder Difflin 79 talking about his Cole Kmet wager. For this week, I pledge that if Cole Kmet scores a touchdown, I will donate $100 to a local charity at Mary's Place, WA, who provides shelter, food, and clothing to families in need. Holidays, COVID, no brainer. So that's awesome. Obviously, nothing for you to really do, but maybe just support Scott because he's doing something really cool, and he's doing his part to help the community and help people in need, especially during the holidays when they probably needed even more. And obviously check out Chase, Mike's co-host on the Intervention, FF Intervention. They're doing their show. I think that was like an hour ago. So that one's done, but you go check it out. And let me see what we got over here. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Man, I think I got through all of them. That's kind of crazy, actually. So FF Trade Guy at FF_IMBQ has his ranks, and he's wanting to find out from you guys or from everyone, who's too low, who's too high, all that. And he is, let's see. I didn't see if there was a website here. No, I guess not. Yeah, so I was looking through real quick to see if he has anybody too high or too low. I'm guessing I don't think these are weekly ranks. If I'm trying to read through his hashtags here and everything. If it's a weekly rank, then I guess I could see it. But if it's not, if it's dynasty rank or even a redraft or a full year rank, I don't know how you could possibly have Lamar over Kyler at this point. But to each their own. I mean, I know Lamar's come back on the past couple of weeks, and so maybe he's kind of assuming that that's how it's going to be the rest of the year and going forward. Jonathan Taylor at 3. That is spicy. I'm not going to lie. The guy's been killing it lately. Yeah, I need to know from Trade Guy if these are week 15 ranks or more, because, yeah, that could definitely make a big difference there. But I'll see if I can't send him a DM or something and figure that out. He had just tagged me in something, so I was looking through that. And yeah, so I guess we actually did talk about everything. If anybody has any start sit questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, if anybody wants to jump on and talk about their stuff, otherwise I'll probably get off of here and go get ready for football of my own, make sure my lineups are all set and good to go. I'm just happy that we were able to push out some stuff for people, talk about, obviously the very important week 15 starts and sits and everything going on with that. But All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I really appreciate you guys watching, and make sure you're following all these people, retweet, supporting each other. It's, yeah, you might be competing for, you might be competing against the other people as far as start sit questions and all that kind of stuff. But the best way to do it is just to really support each other. And that's the way that we'll grow as a community and be even better. But I appreciate you guys watching. I will see you next week.